Hi, I'm Daniel Andrews, owner and creator of the DAN Show, and welcome to my latest 2021 NFL Preview video. Now, if you're new here, this is your first time being here, I just got a simple question to ask you. Do you like football? Because if so, welcome home. This is the place to be. All I do is talk football 365 days out of the year. So go ahead, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell to get notified every time I come out with a new video. Now, if you've been here before, you already know the drill. Give me a thumbs up and put a comment below with what your opinion is of the Cincinnati Bengals for the 2021 NFL season. Now, this video, I'm going to start off with 3 things I like. Then I'll give you 3 things I don't like, but stick around to the end where I break down the Vegas over-under and if I'm going to put action down on the Cincinnati Bengals and what my betting advice is for you if you want to put action down on Cincinnati Bengals. Now, let's start the show. The first thing I like is the offensive skill position talent. You combine this year's first-round pick, Jamar Chase, reunite him with Joe Burrow, which, by the way, the last time these two got together, they won a national championship and were arguably part of the greatest college football offense of all time. You combine him with second-year wide receiver T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd. You have a trio that could be as good as anyone. Keep in mind, Justin Jefferson, a member of that 2019 national championship team, he set a record for receiving yards in a season by a rookie wide receiver. He was the number 2 wide receiver on that team. Jamar Chase was the number 1. So if Chase can match what Justin Jefferson did last year for the Vikings, the skill position talent in this team can rival almost anyone in the National Football League. Keep in mind, Joe Burrow's coming back from injury. He only started 10 games, but in those 10 starts, he threw for 2,688 yards and averaged at 268.8 a game. If you take that number over 16 games, it's over 4,300 yards. That would put him in 7th place passing. Now you add his teammate into this mix, and you get Joe Mixon coming back from injury. The skill position talent on this team and the potential is extremely high. Now, the second thing I like about the Cincinnati Bengals is that front 7 speed. You have your 2 rookie linebackers from 2020 combined with 2019 draft pick Jermaine Pratt, and you have maybe the 3 fastest linebackers in football. All 3 of these guys can fly. But what I really like is on the defensive line. You take Carl Lawson, your leading sacker from last year. He's with the Jets. He had 5.5 sacks last year. Well, you replace him with Trey Hendrickson, who had 13.5. And then you added 3 defensive ends via the draft. Now, Joseph Asai was somebody who I was very high on. At his pro day, he ran a 4.60 40-yard dash, and Cameron Sample ran a 4.59 at his pro day. So you got 2 really fast ends combined with adding Trey Hendrickson. You still get Sam Hubbard, who comes back. So you got a very fast front 7. Another thing that is not really included with the speed, but they drafted LSU Tiger Tyler Shelvin, defensive tackle, who's the largest player in the draft. His weight, depending on which source you use, is anywhere between 350 and 365. And then you also get DJ Reader, who comes back from injury, who's listed at 347 pounds. So not only do you have a lot of speed added to the Cincinnati front 7, you got 2 massive defensive tackles to go with that. So if nothing else, the Cincinnati Bengals are a lot faster on that defensive front 7, which is important because the Bengals only had 17 sacks last year. If the speed, nothing else, should improve the pass rush, and that 17 number should go way up. Now, the third and final thing I like about the Cincinnati Bengals is there's low expectations. I mean, what really is considered is a successful year for the Cincinnati Bengals? I'm going to get that word out sooner or later. I mean, 6 wins, 7 wins. Do they need to finish above 500 to have a great year? You have 3 playoff teams from a year ago. So anything less than a playoff berth for any of the other 3 teams is a bad season. However, the Cincinnati Bengals don't have that expectation. And here's another thing, is that the other 3 AFC South teams had a lot of turnover in key positions. The Cincinnati Bengals are the only team that definitely got better this offseason, while the other 3 teams, you can make a case one way or another, Not true at Cincinnati Bengals. They definitely got better, and the expectations for this team is really low. So this could be a team that could surprise a lot of people in the NFL. Just to recap, the three things I like: the offensive skill position talent, the front seven speed. This is one of the fastest front sevens in all football, and very low expectations. Now, let's discuss what I don't like about the Cincinnati Bengals. The first thing I don't like is the very tough AFC North. You got three teams that won 11 or more games last year, and then you have the 4-win Cincinnati Bengals. Now, out of all four AFC North teams, I think the Cincinnati Bengals are the only team that can definitely say they got better this offseason. But did they get 7 games better? Because that's a big gap that you're trying to close. And while I do think the Bengals are going to be better than they were last year, I don't know if they're 7 games better. That may be a little too much to ask. And the second thing I don't like is the Joe Burrow limitations. Now, I thought Joe Burrow played pretty well as a rookie, but one thing that stood out was that by NFL standards, he's got a weak arm. You combine that with a really horrific knee injury that occurred later in the season. I don't know if he's going to be 100%. Now, the plan is that he should start day one, but I don't know if he's 100%. You already got an arm. I'm going to be honest, it looks like an arm deficiency as far as arm strength. You combine that with a really horrific knee injury, how much is his passing going to be affected? Now, I already mentioned the tough AFC North. I'm going to say it again. You got a really tough AFC North with 2 premier pass rushers. You got Myles Garrett and TJ Watt that you got to go against twice a year. These are 2 of the best pass rushers in the NFL. Are you going to be mobile enough? Are you going to be able to have the arm strength to just whip it out? I mean, I do like the skill position talent, but as Burrow, I think he's going to have some limitations. The question is really how much, and directly related to the Burrow injuries, the third thing I don't like about the Cincinnati Bengals, and is the offensive line improved enough? Now, I want to be very clear. A lot of people thought that the Cincinnati Bengals should have used the 5th overall pick on improving the offensive line. I didn't think so. I thought Jamar Chase was definitely the way to go. And the offensive line will definitely be improved, all right? You got Riley Reif, a former left tackle. You're switching over to the right side. He'll be your day one start on the right side. That's a solid upgrade right there. But you also use the 2nd, 4th, and 6th round picks on interior offensive linemen. Now the 4th round pick, Deontay Smith, he's listed as a tackle, but I'm not sure that he's better suited inside, no matter what he needs to put on the NFL 20 if he has any plans to replace Riley Reif in 2022. He's undersized, of course, by NFL standards. But it looks like they drafted 3 offensive linemen. I think they're 3 guards, but Deontay Smith's currently listed as a tackle. And you still have former first-round pick Billy Price, who they're moving over to guard. So you definitely have upgrades on all 5 starting spots on the offensive line. Reif is definitely an upgrade on the right side. Jonah Williams, a rookie in 2019, got injured, didn't play in 2019. Last year was basically his rookie year as left tackle. So your tackles definitely are improved. Now you added draft capital. And you also have some high picks, specifically Billy Rice, former first-round draft pick, on that interior offensive line. The Bengals' offensive line will be improved in 2021. The question is how much. Are they improved so that they're now one of the top 20 offensive lines in the National Football League? Are they top 15? They're definitely going to be better. It's just how much is important. So to recap, the 3 things I don't like about the Cincinnati Bengals. Number 1, they're in a very tough division, one of the toughest divisions in the National Football League. Joe Burrow's going to have limitations this year. I don't care what he says or what's posted publicly. That knee injury combined with a weak arm by NFL standards is going to cause some problems this year, whether he wants to admit it or not. And third, the offensive line will be improved. Is it improved enough so that you can bridge that wide gap that's in the AFC North? So now it's time for the advanced class. The advanced section part of the show where I break down the Vegas over-under and give you my preseason prediction for the Cincinnati Bengals for the 2021 NFL season. Now the over-under is listed at 6.5, which I'm going to show you here. And 6.5 is an absolute perfect number for this team's yearly win total. Currently it's negative 105 for the over and negative 115 for the under, which means that if you bet the over, you have to wager $105 to win 100. But if you take the under, you have to wager $115 to win 100. Now, I personally am not going to bet on the Cincinnati Bengals because I think while the team overall is improved, I have no idea how Burrow is going to play. Preseason is going to be really big for the Cincinnati Bengals. I want to see Burrow play, but no matter how he looks, I'm going to pass on the Bengals for a yearly win total because this team could be a surprise team. Chase could be the superstar. The front seven could be really good, but this is if. If this was Madden, I'm definitely taking over. If I'm playing the Bengals on a Madden game, I'm definitely taking over. But here's the thing. I like the team's upside, but there's so many question marks. So bottom line, let's say you put a gun to my head, which one am I taking? I would go with the under. And the reason why is that last year without Joe Burrow, this team just looked completely lost. And I cannot bank on Joe Burrow coming back at 100%. So my overall recommendation is to avoid the Bengals for yearly win totals until you get a good idea on Burrow and the offensive line. Now, if Burrow and the offensive line look good in preseason, you may want to run to the window late and take the over. But again, my suggestion is to avoid betting the yearly totals on the Cincinnati Bengals completely. Now, if you're watching the premiere, I go live tonight, 7:15 Central Standard Time. So join me right here on YouTube tonight as I go live, answer any and all of your questions. And Monday, I am going to have my premiere of the Detroit Lions. I'm going to go ahead and break down the Lions. So listen, if in case you haven't done it already, give me a thumbs up. And don't forget, drop a comment below. I want to know what your opinion is for the Bengals on the upcoming 2021 NFL season. I give you mine. Now let's hear yours. And don't forget, join me tonight, 7:15 Central Standard Time. So hey, later tonight, I will see you live on YouTube.